I used to think I had control. That's what they tell you in the industry, that it's your choice, that you're the one using the system, not the other way around. That men don't own you, that you're empowered, that this is just a job, nothing more. And I believed it. At least I tried to. But late at night, when the cameras were off, when the makeup was wiped away, when the high of attention faded, I knew the truth. I wasn't in control. The money, the fame, the validation, it was all an illusion, a prison wrapped in gold. I told myself it didn't matter, that I had built this life for myself, that I had made my own choices, that I wasn't hurting anyone. But every time I looked in the mirror, I saw it, the emptiness, the cracks beneath the surface, and a part of me wondered if I had made a mistake I could never undo. I had always been distant from God. Growing up, I had heard his name, but he had never meant anything to me. My parents were religious, but I dismissed their faith as outdated, restrictive, useless. I wanted freedom. I wanted to be my own God, and I thought I had succeeded. Until the night everything ended. It was just another shoot, a high-end set, lights blazing, bodies moving, cameras rolling, but something felt off. My body ached, my head was pounding, my heart racing too fast. I ignored it. The industry teaches you to push through, to ignore the pain, to smile even when you want to scream. But then, suddenly, everything went dark. I collapsed. I heard shouting, people rushing toward me, someone calling for help. But it was distant, muffled, like I was hearing it from the bottom of the ocean, and then the world disappeared. And I opened my eyes somewhere else, somewhere I didn't belong. I blinked, my breath caught in my throat, my body frozen. I expected to wake up in a hospital, surrounded by doctors, with someone shaking me, telling me I had passed out. But I wasn't in a hospital. I wasn't anywhere I recognized. The air around me was thick, suffocating, pressing against my skin like something alive. The ground beneath me wasn't solid, yet I wasn't falling. Everything around me stretched endlessly, an emptiness so vast, so overwhelming that it made my chest tighten. Then, I heard them. The voices, soft at first. A whisper, a breath, then louder, surrounding me, repeating my own words back to me. I don't need God. I'm in control of my life. This is just a job. The words mocked me, twisting, warping, turning into something cruel and cold. I covered my ears, but it didn't stop. I turned in every direction, searching for something, anything that would tell me where I was. But there was nothing. Nothing but the abyss. And that's when I realized I wasn't alone. The shadows moved, shapes shifting in the distance, figures I couldn't fully see, yet I could feel them watching me. Not with curiosity, not with kindness, with ownership. A chill ran through my spine. My heartbeat thundered. Something deep inside me whispered the truth. I wasn't in a dream. I wasn't hallucinating. I had died. And this place, this horrifying, endless void, was where I belonged. Panic surged through me. No, I gasped. No, this isn't real. This can't be real. But it was, and then, from somewhere deep within the darkness, I heard the first scream. It wasn't human. It wasn't of this world. It was pure agony, and it was getting closer. I stumbled backward, my breath coming in shallow gas, my mind racing for answers. I had never believed in hell. I had laughed at it, called it a fairy tale, a control tactic used by religious fanatics. But as the shadows shifted, as the air grew hotter, as the unseen figures moved toward me, I understood the truth. Hell was real, and I was already in it. I fell to my knees, my hands shaking, my throat tight. My mind screamed for a way out, for an escape, for mercy. But I had spent my entire life rejecting the very one who could have saved me. And now I was alone. This was justice. I had worshipped money. I had sold my body. I had used my own soul as currency, telling myself it didn't matter, that nothing mattered. And now I was seeing what that cost me. Eternity. I squeezed my eyes shut, sobbing, clawing at the empty air, gasping for something, anything that could pull me out. Then, suddenly, a light. Not small, not distant, blinding, consuming, all-powerful. The darkness around me reeled back, shrieking, folding into itself, scattering like ash in the wind. The ground beneath me trembled, the very air shifted, and I felt a presence so vast, so holy, that my entire being wanted to collapse. I lifted my head, barely able to breathe, and I saw him, Jesus. He stood before me, clothed in light, radiating something I had never known in all my years of searching, all my years of selling myself, all my years of trying to convince the world and myself that I didn't need anyone. Love. Unshakable, endless, undeserved love. His eyes met mine, and in that instant, I felt everything inside me laid bare. Every lie, every sin, every moment I had turned my back on him. And yet, he was still here. Tears burned down my face. My chest ached. I don't deserve you, I whispered, my voice trembling. He didn't answer right away, then gently, he spoke. I never stopped loving you. The words shattered me. Even after everything, even after I had rejected him, cursed him, spent my entire life running from him, he had never left me. I had abandoned him, but he had never abandoned me. And now, I had a choice. Stay in the darkness I had chosen, or take the hand that had been reaching for me all along. I couldn't speak. My throat was tight, my chest heaving, my entire being shaking under the weight of everything I had ever done. I had mocked God. I had laughed at the idea of faith. I had sold myself, not just my body, but my soul, convincing myself that none of it mattered. And yet here I was, kneeling before the very one I had spent my life rejecting. Jesus didn't move. He didn't demand anything from me. He didn't scold me, didn't remind me of the filth I had surrounded myself with, didn't hold my past over my head. He already knew. He had always known. And yet, he was still here. The light that radiated from him wasn't just bright. It was alive. It wasn't like the stage lights that had once shined down on me, turning me into something men could consume. Those lights had made me hollow. This light, it saw me, not as an object, not as a product to be bought and sold, but as someone who had been made for more. Tears blurred my vision as I gripped my chest, struggling to breathe through the crushing realization of what I had done. I had spent my life running toward everything that had led me to the abyss. I had chased money, attention, power, the illusion of control. I had traded my worth for validation that never lasted. And now, here, in the presence of Jesus, in the presence of truth, I realized that I had spent my life selling myself short. I had chosen hell long before I had died, and now I was standing on the very edge of it. I squeezed my eyes shut, sobs racking my body. My voice cracked. I can't fix this. I can't take it back. Jesus took a step forward. I felt it, his presence, his love so overwhelming that it made my soul tremble. You were never meant to carry it alone, he said. I choked back another sob, shaking my head violently. But I did this to myself. I knew what I was doing. I looked up at him, my lips trembling. Why would you still love me? Jesus knelt before me, his eyes locking onto mine, and for the first time, I saw something that shattered me. Pain. Not my pain, his. Because every moment I had suffered, every time I had felt worthless, every time I had believed I was nothing more than a product for men to consume, he had felt it too. He had been watching, waiting, hurting for me, and yet he had never forced me to come to him, because love is a choice. And now, I had one. The abyss behind me stirred, the heat, the whispers, the pull. I could feel it, waiting for me, reaching for me, ready to claim what had been promised to it for so long. I had lived my entire life, walking toward hell. Now, I was standing on its doorstep, and Jesus was giving me one last chance to turn back. I swallowed hard, my body shaking. What if I fail? His gaze softened. You don't have to do it alone. The words pierced through me, tearing down every lie I had ever believed. I had spent my whole life believing I had to survive on my own, that no one would save me, that I had to make something of myself, no matter what it cost. But I had been wrong. I had never been alone. And now, for the first time, I didn't want to be. With tears streaming down my face, I reached for his hand, and everything changed. The moment my fingers touched his, everything changed. The abyss that had been pulling at me vanished. The weight of my past, the chains I had unknowingly wrapped around myself for years, broke. It wasn't just light that surrounded me. It was freedom. A kind of freedom I had never known. Not the kind that money bought. Not the kind that came from attention, from desire, from pretending to be something I wasn't. Real freedom. Freedom from shame, from the choices that had defined me, from the lies I had built my life upon. I let out a sob, not of pain, not of regret, but of something I had never experienced before: relief. Jesus didn't let go of my hand. He held it as if he had been waiting for me all along, and he had. I had spent my whole life running from him, and he had spent my whole life waiting for me to come home. The next thing I knew, I was gasping for breath, my body jerking, the sterile scent of a hospital filling my lungs. I was alive. My heart thundered, my mind racing as I blinked at the fluorescent lights above me. The room was spinning. My limbs felt weak, but I didn't care. I was here. I had been given another chance. Tears blurred my vision as I turned my head and saw my mother sitting beside my hospital bed, her face pale, her hands gripping mine like she was afraid I would disappear. She had never approved of my life. She had prayed for me, begged me to walk away, pleaded with me to turn back to God, and I had shut her out. Now, as I looked into her eyes, I saw something I hadn't seen in years: hope. I squeezed her hand, my voice weak. "Mom." She broke down sobbing, pulling me into her arms. "Thank you, Jesus," she whispered over and over again. "Thank you, Jesus." And for the first time, I whispered it too. Walking away from my old life wasn't easy. I had spent years convincing myself that I was in control, that I had power, that I was the one using the system, not the other way around. But now I could see the truth. I had been a slave to money, to attention, to the illusion of fame, but I wasn't anymore. I shut down everything: my accounts, my name, my image, the life I had spent so long building. It was terrifying. Walking away from something that had defined me for so long felt like dying all over again. But what I was walking toward was so much greater. I wasn't just leaving something behind. I was becoming someone new, and for the first time, I wasn't afraid. At first, I thought I was alone in this, that no one could understand what I had been through, what I had seen, what I had chosen. But then I started speaking, first to my mother, then to women I had once worked with, then to people who had never met me but knew exactly what it felt like to be lost, to be used, to believe there was no way out. And the more I spoke, the more I realized I wasn't alone. There were so many others still trapped in the life I had lived. Women who had been told they were nothing more than their bodies. Women who had convinced themselves that this was the only way. Women who didn't know that there was something better waiting for them. And so, I made it my mission, not to judge them, not to shame them, but to show them what Jesus had shown me, that they were worth more, that they were loved, that they didn't have to stay in the darkness. One night, months after I had left my old life behind, I got a message. It was from a girl I used to work with. "I saw what you've been posting. I don't know what to believe, but I don't want to live like this anymore. What do I do?" Tears filled my eyes as I typed back, "You don't have to do it alone. Come home." I had once believed I was nothing more than a product, that my value was in what I could give to men, that I was worth only what people were willing to pay for me. But Jesus had shown me the truth, that I had been created for so much more, that I had been made for him, that I was never beyond saving. And now I live every day to show others that they aren't either, because if he could save me, he can save anyone.